Hey, let's check in. Hey, I got all my sleeping dogs here that decided to sack out beside me. Let's check in with Gulliver, chapter 10 of part 3, where we meet the slub, slubdrub, slubdrubs, slubdrubs, slugadrubs? Uh, the strudel, no, strul, strudelbrugs, immortals of Lugnag, where apparently in every generation one or two people are born who are mortal. They're distinguished because they have like a little red mark on their, I think it's their forehead, which slowly changes color, finally going to I think black when they're 40, and they never age. And Gulliver goes into rhapsodies about this, like, "Oh my God, you have ancients of your history who will impart wisdom and history and good sense and be great men and women to guide you through the thing. How awesome this is!" And his friends kind of look at him and kind of pityingly, and they do eventually set him straight after he kind of rhapsodizes for a while. It's like, no, you're making the same mistake everyone makes with this. It's like living forever. They're not living forever immune from the consequences of age. They have all the consequences of age and all the stuff, which other than just the physical infirmities and the sicknesses that continue on. They just don't kill them. They lose all their teeth, all their hair falls out. They're completely wrinkled and just completely ancient. Like we're talking thousands of years old for some of these poor creatures. They also lose all their memory, their facilities. Um, they can't really learn anything new. Usually, they can only remember stuff from like up to like their age of 40, including their language. Which, if you think of the kind of the general changes of language after a couple of thousand years, they can't actually understand fellow Strudelbrugs, but they can't also understand, other than just most simple words, understand the mortals around them. And they're just like, they get really depressed when they get to about 40. They can't make any connections with people. They don't really have much affection for people. Yeah, it's really sad. And I mean, he was taking it as like, oh, this is, he's thinking, oh, these great ancients, why isn't the king using them as a repository for knowledge? And the king's like, well, actually they are useful because they help get people, you know not fear death, because look what the alternative is to not dying. It's just more continual suffering. And I mean, someone like Jonathan Swift had serious medical issues throughout his life. A lot of these guys, I had read The Club with Samuel Johnson, James Boswell. It's like, oh, these guys were so miserable. And some of the stuff could be addressed, by modern medicine now. But you also think of how many people, we live longer, but do we live? We probably live a happier life in general, but there's still, you get to extreme old age and people are like, let me die, versus continue on this way. Have a good death. And he says, like, oh, it's too bad I couldn't bring these people back to Europe. One or two examples, just to be a kind of like an objective answer of don't wish for immortality. Um, and that there's that thing of wanting to extend life, which is here. Now, one of the key things is that after a certain, at I think it's 4 score, so like 80, they basically get disinherited and all the money goes to the kids. They don't allow them to basically suck up all the wealth of the nation through just outliving everybody else. Let me just turn that off. About outliving outliving self, and you wonder if a part of this is a covert kind of criticism of inherited wealth in here, of families just sucking up the wealth of those around and impoverishing everybody else. Whether, I mean, they have nobles here, so maybe still have inheritance, but it's just like an interesting little side thing that's like, is this too hot to put in? I didn't look at the notes for it yet, but yeah, interesting stuff. Okay, I got a flank steak on the barbecue and sleeping puppies. Oh, so sleepy. All right, more videos later.